Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I don't do this very often, but this morning I've got someone staring at me while I'm doing this show. I don't do that very often. I've even had my wife look over my shoulder while I do this show. But today there's someone sitting here. I won't say who. It's a very deep secret. All right, so let's start off with this. This German token, I guess just Tokentus is the name of this company. They've bought into PolySign's. They've bought into PolySign, which I also own. So they're an investor alongside me now. Now you know Link2 has PolySign on the platform, who is one of my sponsors, by the way. You also know that here they tweeted this morning that they just added more Ripple equity because, as you know, just like I know, any day now that the lawsuit's going to be over, and whether it's positive or negative, they've said that they're going to go towards an IPO. So I own both. Just in full disclosure, I own both PolySign Private Equity and Ripple Private Equity on the Link2 platform, who is one of my sponsors. And the link's in the top of the description. You can click on that and tell them DAI sent you. Now here I wanted to show you this from eGrag Crypto. XRP affirmative confirmation. XRP is on the verge of a pump. Flip the blue line into the support, and then we will have fireworks. I would love to have fireworks. So wanted to get through that. Now, we all remember when Tom Emmer in Congress said this.
Here's the problem. The SEC isn't interested in clarifying what areas of the crypto industry fall under SEC jurisdiction. We know that because FinHub, that you've referred to, the SEC division focused on crafting crypto regulation, has essentially dissolved under Gensler. Nonetheless, while abandoning good faith attempts to clarify how the Commission's existing authority applies to digital assets, the SEC is hell-bent on expanding the size of its crypto enforcement division and using enforcement to unconstitutionally expand its jurisdiction. Under Chair Gensler, the SEC has become a power-hungry regulator, politicizing enforcement, baiting companies to, quote, come in and talk to the Commission, then hitting them with enforcement actions and discouraging good faith cooperation. Understand, sir, there is a new day coming. Thank you.
All right. Now, you all know that I've been giving Tom Emmer and the Congress people a hard time over the last week or two because he told us a new day is coming. And now they have control, and they can give us a new day. So I've been giving them a hard time, and not that I think Tom Emmer's a bad guy. I think he's one of the good guys. And turns out I think that they saw us doing a lot of tweeting about this new day coming, and so I'm starting to see things come out that lead me to believe they are about to get aggressive. He tweeted this out: "Crypto's here to stay. I'll keep advocating policies that advance crypto innovation adoption in the United States because crypto is more than a financial investment. It's about restoring liberty and choice to individuals." Then he did this write-up on CoinDesk, and I wanted to show you what he said about Gensler. I thought I had it highlighted down here. Let's see. I tell you what, just when you think a plan is coming together, I have to go and look for it, really. I had it, let's see. It said something about him giving them nuggets. Here it is. Yeah. But he did give us a few nuggets. I think you're going to see a lot of bipartisan work to get to the bottom of why the SEC wasn't doing his job. He says, referring to FTX meltdown, what was Chair Gensler and the company really doing? He describes Gensler as very arrogant and speaking from the mountaintop. And then we find out they're working with a fraudster that bilked the people out of billions of dollars. Republicans and Democrats are going to be involved in that. As for legislation, we're going to focus obviously on legislation. I think it's going to be a place to place key guardrails around the industry, market structure guardrails, stable coin guardrails, things like that. That's a great thing, folks. So they're not dropping the ball on this, and that's good. Now, something I was made aware of, this is the guy who is in charge, this Bill Huizenga, I guess that's how you say his name. He's in charge of oversight of Gary Gensler and the SEC. And he tweeted this out. As Financial Committee Oversight Chair, SEC oversight will be the central in my agenda. No longer can Gary Gensler hide behind his Democrat allies. Republicans will hold him accountable for his expansive regulatory overreach. This is Brit Hume. The SEC not only has expanded its regulatory reach beyond its legal authority, it has morphed from an umpire objectively enforcing the rule of law to an economic policymaker dictating how the economy will operate. And then Hester Pierce, who has to be furious at this point, she's having to be called out in front of all of the people in crypto over this one twerp that's running the show over there that they're trying to rein in now. And she's been dealing with this guy. If you look right here, you'll see that where Wheezy says, we need a crypto approach. We need to approach crypto carefully. 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. She was saying the same thing every single year. Now, to her credit, she's the only one that seems to be trying to do anything, which is part of the reason she's been criticized a lot, is because it's just talk. We want some action. Then you got the financial services Twitter handle here. And they're talking about how the SEC's assault on the capital markets threatens to upend the American economy. And then she does a WSJ op-ed with this guy, Phil Graham. I'm not sure who Phil Graham is. I'm going to have to look him up. But she's, literally calling out Gary Gensler. And Eleanor Terrett did a little write-up on it here. She says, new SEC Commissioner Pierce gave the following speech. Here's the quote's right here. SEC approach to regulating crypto looks somewhat like a decidedly unromantic version of CompuDate from the old TV shows. We tell people to come down to the office to talk to us about their projects, plug the information they give us into our proprietary security identifying algorithms, and then send people home with a court date. After all, if we continue with the regulation by enforcement approach at our current pace, we would approach 400 years before we got through all the tokens that are allegedly securities. And that completely illustrates the absurdity. I'm not going to play this clip, but this is from Linda Jones, and she's talking about how Gary Gensler had made that comment about how the phoenix rises. We've been hearing that terminology for years now. Okay, I wanted to show you this. This guy's apparently, he's a executive director of compliance regulation at University of Hong Kong, and he was weighing in on the Ripple, his prediction for the Ripple case. And I'm kind of in line with this. I still say settlement. Until we see those Hinman documents, I'm going to believe settlement.
I will kick off. I think that it's a most unfortunate case, and it's hard to really get into the mindset of the SEC to bring the action. There's a lot of commentary floating around about that's positioning the case against the comments that William Hinman made back in 2018 about Ethereum being sufficiently decentralized that it's not of interest to the SEC. The SEC now seems to be saying that, oh, look, because there is a company, Ripple, that seems to make a difference. When, if you look at it from a functional point of view, the fact is that Ethereum, the developers of Ethereum at the Ethereum Foundation are effectively still evolving Ethereum in a similar way. My expectation is that this is simply creating uncertainty, that it is highlighting the failure of the SEC actually to do better in terms of clarity to an industry that is already huge and becoming larger. My prediction on an outcome is that if we get enough exchanges between the lawyers, this will provide interesting insights, but that we won't get to a court judgment on it. I think we'll get to a point where there's a face-saving settlement from both sides, pretty much like Telegram, pretty much like EOS before it, and that's where we will be left, which unfortunately is kind of like 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards.
That's kind of what I think. I think it's face-saving settlement's the right phrase. Once Ripple, I don't think we ever see those Hinman documents. I think that there's too much that leads to too many big-time powerful people, and I don't think it's going to be allowed. I don't think we're ever going to see them, and for that reason, I think the SEC will be forced to settle. Now, this guy right here is the Minister of Digital Financial Services from Gibraltar, and he had some interesting commentary on how the SEC and the U.S. has handled this regulation.
for me, this event that you're hosting, Olga, this morning is about smart regulation. And the United States is teaching us exactly how not to do it. We still have a piece of legislation from 1946 which determines what a security is. And we're calling that interpretation and adapting it to a digital asset. You've got to be bonkers if you think that sort of framework is going to give any firm and any business any degree of certainty or security as to how they can manage the businesses. And therefore, that's why this event is focusing on smart regulation, because I believe that the US takes the view that when something is big enough, then it's going to move in and do things to it, which nobody knows where they're going to come from, why they're going to come for it. And the whole thinking behind regulatory action, in my view, should be when you're breaching something. And I don't see that in the United States. And so I think the sooner that they get to grips with actually deciding who's going to regulate this space, how they're going to regulate this space, and why they're going to regulate this space, the whole blockchain space and the whole crypto area will dramatically grow as a result of that certainty, because that's what firms are crying out for. So when firms come to Gibraltar, they want to know that they're coming here for certainty. You've got a legal framework, you know what you have to do, you know which hoops you have to jump through, you know what you have to do to stay on the right side of the law. That is a framework that gives people the...
This guy's totally right. Gary Gensler's made it all a joke. But don't forget, this is all by design. Don't think for 2 seconds that Gary Gensler, all of his Wall Street buddies, are not taking advantage of the fear that he is intentionally creating and buying all of this stuff, whether it's crypto or whether it's the private equity and blockchain companies. You better believe they are scooping all of this up left and right. And so is the digital asset investor. I will continue, because at some point you're going to get regulation. And when you do, it's game on. It's going to be on like Donkey Kong, as I say. So that's the way that I think about this stuff. I just wanted to show you this. I think Ripple is doing like a major advertising campaign. It looks like that's in the subways. I think that's in London, because this guy's got his British flag on this tweet. I think that's in the London Underground or something. Mind the gap. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family to mind the gap if they're looking at Ripple advertisements in the London Underground.